WalterREQUiEM, and I'd just like to welcome you back to our Let's Play of System Shock 2. And I know I said the very next thing I was going to do, excuse me, was go to engineering, but there is some unfinished business left on Med's side that I would like to take care of. First and foremost, I would just like to lay the groundwork for the fact that I am most likely going to use this area as a storage facility for things that we don't need right away. Right now, that really doesn't include much. I think I'm just going to lose the basketball for now, and why the fuck? Oh yeah. This is actually kind of interesting. The Game Pig is just basically a little Game Boy that you can play minigames on. If you try to hack it, you actually need the maximum level of hack skill for it. It's pretty useless. I mean, obviously, it's just kind of a little fun thing, but if you want, you can do it. I do need to mention that there are several games that you can play that actually give you nanites for doing certain things. So, theoretically, you can play them to farm for nanites, but later on we're going to have a much better way to get nanites just easier than this. Yeah, it's a fun thing. I mean, I've never really paid it much mind, but there's some people that really like the Game Pig, and I can't really blame them for that. So before we could go on to engineering, I just want to do some stuff.
Security system offline.
So I probably won't be here long enough for that whole duration to go away, but when I was talking about the research earlier, or in my last video, I mentioned that I think I mentioned that you can get certain bonuses for researching stuff. One of those bonuses is a damage boost against enemies, but right away, oh wow, there's some lag. Anyway, right away, I very much need this particular chemical, osmium. It's going to come in pretty handy on the next very immediate deck. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. We can start engineering. So, yeah, you can, if there's stuff you haven't done on a deck, you can always come back to it.
You're now on the engineering deck. Find the engine core and reset it. This will restore power to the elevators. I'm getting some kind of strange readings from down there, so keep your eyes open.
Right. So this is, in my opinion, one of the most tense parts of the game, is this little area right here.
This is Xerxes. The coolant tubes are off limits to all personnel. To avoid possible detention and execution, please respect the will of the many.
Oh, shut up, Xerxes. Anyway, so yeah. Since the elevator is out, the only way actually to the engineering deck is through that little maintenance tunnel. So we are immediately exposed to the highly irradiated engineering section of the Von Braun. Yeah, I mean, as our lovely HD textures would indicate, there's some nastiness down here. And, yeah. There are enemies in this hallway.
Do you ever had hypo? I'm so sick.
Man, so it's not even just enough that there's enemies. I mean, the game entirely sets us up as being really ominous. That poor dude just died because of radiation sickness. And it's really fucked up to imagine that this ship was greenlit basically with all of these faults in mind.
You must move faster. Your mind cannot conceive of the stakes we are dealing with. Keep your eyes open for utility storage 4. I've laid in some supplies there. The passcode is 59004. Got to get to deck.
The many demands the termination of this exchange. We regret any inconvenience.
No, we can't get here yet, but the entire reason I wanted to come up here is to get those cipher modules. Also, This is the engineering soundtrack. A lot of people love this music, and I do as well. I just love System Shock 2's soundtrack as a whole. Some people will tell you to play with the game's audio muted, and I can agree with that to an extent, but I've never done it. This music is just too awesome, and it just adds such a interesting feel to System Shock 2. It has this really energetic music contrasted with a legitimately horrifying setting. So, yeah. You know, I'm not as lost as it might seem. Oh god. Is that enough? Holy shit. Right.
Anatoly, you must open up the planet to the scientific staff of this vessel. If there is something down there, it's bigger than Triumph, it's bigger than the UNN, and it's bigger than you. And why have you and Diego shut off Deck 3? What's going on?
So, as we can tell, it seems like there's some stuff going on between Kerenskin and now apparently Diego, doing shady things behind the backs of pretty much the entire crew.
Now listen carefully. The xenomorphs who have hijacked this ship are presumably from the surface of Tau Ceti 5. They've been able to infect a number of crew members through an extremely invasive parasitical technique. They've also demonstrated the ability to control the actions of others through some form of limited telepathy. Find the research soft, understand them, then kill them.
Right, so, once again, Miss Polito is just reiterating the importance of the research skill. There is a way to actually use the skill without investing any points into it, but,
the radiation must have locked the protective seals on engine core access. You're going to have to find some way to purge the radiation from the coolant tubes. Xerxes is blocking me out of the primary data loop, so I can't get any information to help you. He's working for them now.
lovely. So the Many and Polito are talking over each other. That's nice. Also, this is a new enemy. These are protocol droids. Do not let them get near you, or they will explode. Oh god. Oh, normally that's a one-shot on these guys. Oh, okay, well. The worst of this deck is over. I have the QBR activated. So, if I do get killed, at the very least, you know, I'll respawn. And it would be extremely nice if I could hack this security panel, because what is up ahead is not going to be fun. Yeah, and we have a 70% chance to fail any individual node. For the record, last episode when I was talking about having a chance to fail, you have a % chance to fail each individual node. That's how it works. That's not necessarily the chance to fail for any particular hacking puzzle. And of course that's dictated by both your hacking skill and your cyber affinity. So, yeah. You know, I don't have a whole lot to talk about. I guess while I'm doing this I can play some audio logs.
Delacroix was right. The ship was not ready for prime time. Okay, the automatic safety seals have shut due to the radiation leak in the tubes. I'm gonna head down to engineering control. I think I can use the fluidics monitoring computer to purge the tubes.
Right, so according to Mr. Curtis, the next best solution would probably be to get to that place, and it seems like there is a way to actually disable all the radiation shit going on down there.
I'm not sure what secrets you and your new buddy Captain Diego have got going up on Deck 3, but I intend to find out.
Security system
If you continue
offline.
to refuse to meet with me and my staff, you will leave me no choice but to register a complaint with corporate. If you want to take me seriously, perhaps Sergeant Bronson and her security staff will.
Sergeant Bronson will take Delacroix seriously. Also, I kind of picked this up earlier and didn't explain what it did.
This is
This is a hazmat suit.
Due to the recent confusion, there will be a ship-wide
Yeah,
census
yeah, yeah.
tomorrow at 0900. All personnel, please report to the common area of Deck 5 at that time.
So, yeah, so if you haven't figured it out by now, Xerxes will just really randomly interject with different messages over the, voice system. It's quite interesting. A lot of the time he just kind of says, you know, rubbish, but a lot of the times he actually says, some stuff that can actually indicate certain behaviors within the game, particularly later on. Right now, the precedence is just really being set for Xerxes in general. I mean, you will actually get to understand the extent of the many's control over him later. And the reason I wanted to hack that terminal so bad, that security suite, was because of these little fuckers. These are laser turrets, and they hurt, especially at this stage of the game. So, a lot of the time, I would be getting hacked for, and I would be turning these guys into allies. And I might do that later on, but for right now, I don't need them. So, and there is very little reason to actually come back here when you are later on in the game. So, I don't really need them. On the other hand, this is what I was talking about with the research skill. This is unresearched, but we definitely want to research it. And we need the osmium to research it. Oh. Oh, this normally doesn't happen. That hybrid is scripted to spawn right after you go there, but typically there's not one of these bitches. Okay, well, he's dead now. Another thing I need to mention is the food items, like the soda I've been picking up and the whiskey I just picked up. So what that is basically is we can get items that heal individual hit points, like foods, like the sodas I've been drinking, the chips. These heal you for 1 hit point, but they also take away from your psi points. So most psi operatives will not want to actually consume any alcohol. You know, quite fitting. I mean, it's kind of funny to see System Shock 2, like, of all things, take the piss out of drinking alcohol, but I'm kind of losing the power of illusion. I didn't get much sleep last night.
Security system on.
But anyway, we are currently done with this section of the level, so let's play some audio logs.
Due to the tenuous situation as of late, I've ordered security defense turrets placed at key locations. Yesterday one went off accidentally and critically injured crewman Wells. However, somebody must have tampered with the Xerxes security subsystems, because now my technicians are unable to take them offline. Until we get to the bottom of this, I've ordered all security turrets recalled to storage. But now I can't get in touch with the team I sent out to do the recall.
So, that was Sergeant Bronson, as mentioned by our lovely Miss Delacroix. And so, right off the bat, we know from the very beginning that the entire reason most of these turrets are a thing is because she had them placed. So, we'll see what exactly happened with the Bronson a little later, and why that may not have been the best decision for the Von Braun. But, let's continue to listen to some audio logs.
I'm not sure what's creeping me out worse. The hybrids with their pipes and shotguns, the berserk turrets, are our supposed allies. I don't trust those UNM bastards. I've got to find Sanger. She knows the access code to fluidics control. I'm gonna make my way over to Cargo Bay 2 to find her.
So that room up there, that...
God, get me out of here! I've recoded the lock to this room. Maybe that will hold them. I'm heading to Cargo Bay 2. Come find me there.
So the room we found that audio login with a shotgun has a keypad, and we need to get there. That is the fluidics control section. Unfortunately, we are going to have to continue further down this path to be able to get that. So let's get at it, shall we?
Before I couldn't get rid of those jarheads from the Rickenbacker, and now I can't find one for love or money. That creepy OSA guy followed me around for 2 months until he got the hint. Now I tried to contact him to see if he knew what was going on, but all of a sudden, he won't return my mail.
It's down to just a few of us now. Right after Valdez died, I guess I went a little nuts and started tearing things apart. But what do you know, I found 2 more rad hypes. Hopefully that'll keep me going long enough to figure a way past that damn turret. Who is that? Delacroix? Sanger?
Well, Rip Curtis. And so, yes. So it would seem that there's generally a distrust between the Trioptimum employees and the UNN soldiers. That's not necessarily unwarranted, but we will figure that out later. Let's just continue on down this... Oh. Whoa. Whoa!
Do you not trust the feelings of the flesh? Our biology yearns to join with yours.
For the video game.
You to our
God damn it.
minds. But you puzzle us. Why do you serve
Oh,
our mother?
you're pretty. I guess we're gonna die.
How can you choose cold metal over the splendor of flesh?
Because metal doesn't bore me.
But you fear us.
We hear your thoughts, and they rage for your brothers you believe dead.
But they are not.
They sing in our symphony of life. We offer another chance to join us. If you choose to lie down with the machine
We will rend your heart.
and put you separate from the joy of the mass.
Right. So, the general gist of the many that we can gather from now is, they seem to actually be pretty cool sounding at first, obviously. There's totally no fear in my voice at all. They tend to be about unity. That is their main thing. But clearly, I mean, if they're threatening us because we don't want to be a part of them, they may not be what they say they are. Oh man. So there's a turret, which will hurt. But I actually have a way to damage it a little bit. Okay, cool. We don't have to deal with the turret. We do, however, have to deal with the hybrid, and it sounds like there's a monkey. Ow. Oh god. Ooh. Okay, I thought the hybrid was actually going to get me killed. Okay, so thankfully there's a recharging station right here, so we can heal up. Also, this tends to be a little bit of a safe haven for a bit. Enemies don't tend to come back here, so aside from this guy down here, this is a safe space. We can kind of just chill for a sec. You know, shoot the shit, shoot a hybrid, and just really think about what we're gonna do. Up there is a different story, but for right now, we can just search around, and looks like we just got a audio log from our boy Tommy. So why don't we take him a listen?
Stay where you are, Beck. I mean it. This isn't something you can fight. This isn't something you can run from. If you love me, you won't come looking for me. Just hang tight. I won't let you down.
So we know the object of his affection is a woman named Rebecca. And who was the other person we've gotten?
They aren't making this easy for us, are they? I miss you. I know it's stupid, but I do. I think I'll wallow in self-pity for an hour or so, and then write you again. Figures. I have to travel 67 trillion miles to meet a man. Once you're transferred to the Von Braun, everything will be better. I'll be better. I promise. Great. Someone's coming. Counting the seconds.
So, that is his girl. That is Rebecca. Clearly, it seems like a mutually affectionate relationship, and you know, bless him. I hope it goes well. It's honestly one of the sweetest parts about this game. We will be hearing more from them quite often, actually. Oh, long, ominous hallway.
Not me. No way. They're not gonna get me. They're not gonna change me. Rachel, kids, I'm sorry.
So that guy looked very similar to us. That's not disturbing at all. Woo! Ah, they're throwing decapitated heads at me. And this guy is like fucking me up. I'm gonna die. Okay. Whew. Oh, and you know what? While I'm here, it's not gonna be... Actually, no, it will be applicable to us. We are using the pistol. So, I have been using it without even really discussing it, but there are different kinds of ammo in this game. You can use them on different categories of enemies for bonus damage, depending on who you're shooting at, or if you happen to be using the wrong ammo type, you will be taking a penalty. So, the general way you can tell what something is, especially for projectile weapons, is blue energy. I mean blue ammo is standard ammunition, especially with the grenades. Green ammunition tends to be armor piercing, which is fittingly enough what we're using right now. And crap. Red is anti-personnel, which does more damage against soft targets.
My duty is to the UNN and to this ship. But can I resist the call of the many? My father's weakness brought Shodan into existence. My weakness has invited these things aboard the Von Braun. Can I undo the wrong I have done?
So, Diego seems to be taking a little bit of guilt for what might be going on. I guess we can't say for sure, but certainly as the captain of one of the vessels, then he has to, I think, shoulder some of the blame for people losing their heads and suddenly sounding like my lunch after it's been sitting out in the sun for like 5 days.
Ever since we reached Tau Ceti, the lab monkeys have been acting strangely. Nurse Lesser picked one out of a cage to be brought in for vivisection, and the rest of them, I mean the entire group, stood up on their legs and howled. This wasn't just a random display. It was a protest.
So it would appear that the monkeys are aware of the experiments that are going onto them, and they don't seem to like it. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't particularly like it either. So, right off the bat, we are meant to go into the cargo bays and try to find a Miss Sanger, the woman in one of the audiologues we were listening to. So, let us begin our quest to find her. And this whole section is part of why...
Xerxes, can you not feel the glory of the flesh? Do you not yearn to be free of the tyranny of the individual?
A lot of people, myself included, consider this to be one of the scariest decks. Just because those sliding doors make up a good portion of this level's segments. So, not being able to see what's just a room ahead of you is really nerve-wracking. And to this day, oh god. It doesn't help that these fuckers like to burst out of thin air, basically. Yeah, and one of those would pretty much be enough to kill me. Like, it's not really debatable. I would die. Most of these bots exploded on me. Right, now, the reason why we wanted to go here through this side is because there's a nasty-ass turret, and he will kill us. And obviously there's some cyber modules there, so let us try to hack this crate. This one typically takes a bit for me to hack. Oh, maybe not. So cool. We have 22 nanites, medical hypo, and 6 standard bolts out of that. Quite a nice little treasure trove. Oh yeah, I squished them. You can do that in this game. You can squish people with your elevators, but this is typically the only part in the game where you can actually do that semi-reliably. It would be very helpful if we could get our buddy, the maintenance droid, to get squished. And yes, the enemy I said was a mini-boss is now, from here on out, going to be a fairly common enemy, which is going to be fun. So, it is beneficial to go check out each and every one of these cargo bays, because they do contain some very, some actually very good loot, and so I would like to get that loot. I guess that's fitting for a cargo bay. Also, just because I don't want to carry it around anymore, the reason I picked this up is because it is a Game Boy game. Basically, you can right-click them after you've gotten them, and it will register whatever game you picked up to your game pig. I picked up Swinekeeper, which is basically just a rip-off of Minesweeper. Oh god. Oh god. Yeah, this is part of the reason why engineering might actually be my least favorite deck in the game. I know that's probably going to get a lot of people mad at me, but I do not care for the protocol droids en masse. Thankfully, the laser crystal is going to make it somewhat bearable. Laser crystal makes a lot of stuff bearable. Oh, great. Oh, whoa. Yeah, so one good thing is if we stay hidden in the shadows for a bit, there's a good chance that most of these guys will fuck off and forget that we kind of exist right now. Can't guarantee anything, but we're being really lucky with our hacks this game. You know what? It's the Mermaid of Good Luck. Now, little fact about me, I am obsessed with the Pokemon Primarina. I love her, and I have a little figure on my desk. So I like little figure of her on my desk. So when I have good luck, I always like to attribute it to her. It's silly, and I know it's not at all related to the game, but I might be invoking her sometimes. Oh god. Especially when shit like that happens and I need to, like, be moving. Yikes. So yeah, the armor we have is better than nothing. This is the lightest armor in the game. The game itself doesn't even speak very highly of it. Well, it's better than nothing. More than one wear has meant unpleasant when wearing Dartech Class 1. So, I don't really have much else to say. It's decent for right now, but we do want to get better armor. It sounds like there's some... Oh, there's a welcoming party downstairs. That's always fun. Oh yeah, there's that monkey. I love punching him because for some reason that monkey does not make any noise when you kill him. So it's just the most satisfying ninja kill ever. Oh god, I don't know if he saw me or not. Yeah, part of the reason why this deck is so nerve-wracking is because there are actually quite a number of enemies. This is actually one of the more populated desks by just the sheer volume of enemies that are out to get you. Ow. And this is the point in the game where you don't have the skills nor the ammunition to really deal with all of them. Which is fine. I mean, that's part of the game. It's a horror game after all. But it's worth noting, I think. For some reason, that's the funniest thing ever. And so, anyway, what was I saying? You know, I'm tutting a lot, and I need to stop doing that, so I apologize in advance if that's annoying. I'm trying to make a mental note to not do it anymore. But, yeah, so System Shock, as much as a brilliant RPG that I think it is, and a good shooter, it is also a fantastic horror game. And part of the reason why I think System Shock 2 is one of the more effective horror games is because it's not like a lot of, and I don't want to sound like I'm being like a boomer here, or just, oh, yes! We squished him! Holy shit! Oh my god, I'm so glad we got that on camera. Oh! Get popped! Oh. Okay, anyway. Oh, don't you deflect my attack. Anyway. Part of the reason I think it's effective compared to most modern horror games is I like how it's not just a walking sim, right? The game gives you quite a number of actually like pretty badass weapons to fight your enemies back with. But it makes you feel vulnerable just due to the fact that you are not individually, you don't have a ton of ammo to actually do that with. Part of the reason why this game is so scary, I think, is you have to also manage what few supplies you do have. Every decision in this game is a decision that matters, so you better make some pretty damn good decisions. And there's a hybrid over there. I'm gonna make a very good decision to not... Oh! Ah! Fuck. I was kind of expecting to not get shot by him. But yeah, that is a laser turret, why we do not want to argue with them. That was 8 fucking damage while I'm wearing armor. That is going to kill me. But it seems like we might actually have to be taking him out here. God, I thought he was... Okay, so that laser turret's dead.
Laboratory worker from bedside called me down to the vivisection room yesterday. He felt the lab chimps were exhibiting uncommon intelligence. I sat with one for 4 hours and tried to probe it with the SciAmp on a beta 4 cycle. It failed to respond. I, of course, assumed it was because it was incapable of reacting to the sophisticated beta 4 cycle. But then I realized it was blocking the probe intentionally. As soon as I raised the SciAmp to attack it, the creature lashed out with its arms and projected a cryokinetic field towards me, paralyzing my arm. I immediately side-dampened the monkey and then stunned it with an electric prod.
Okay, so a couple of things. That is Malone. That is the quote-unquote creepy OSA guy that Singer was referring to, who she could not get in contact with. Second of all, the OSA is actually one of the branches of the military that I pointed out at the very beginning of the game that you are able to get into. They are the psionics branch of the military. So, of the UNN military. So, the OSA in this game is kind of treated, I mean, for what little context we have by it, if Malone is singled out specifically as being that creepy OSA guy, that probably means they are more secretive than most of the other branches of the military.
Well, we can't get the malfunctioning turrets offline, and now Xerxes isn't even talking to us. Pollard thought of a workaround. By running bypass into central control, we can hack into the turrets locally and take control of them. However, that means walking right up to the little sons of bitches and hoping they don't go off. One thing is sure, I'm going to figure out what the hell happened here.
Right, so that is the game telling us that we are actually able to hack turrets and override their targeting parameters. That is actually quite useful, although it is not something we're probably going to do this playthrough. You need Hack 4 to get that, and I am going to have to be sacrificing some points into Hack in order to get research points, actually, for the weapons I would like to use. Right, so there's a guy down there. Anyway, typically, Hack 4 is, so, you do need, I think I mentioned specifically, but you do need a hack skill of 4 to be able to hack turrets. The other thing you can do is there are items you can get that are basically auto-hack devices. That would be a reason to use them, although... Oh god! Whoa! Whoa! Holy shit. Okay, that's the first time that's happened to me. Oh god. Yeah, like I said, this game is terrifying for me. That's part of the reason why I love it, but it's also a game that, like, has made me have a heart attack. In no small, like, amounts, basically. Shit like that is reason why. You know, despite being like the basic like grunt enemy, hybrids are always like, in my opinion, one of the most scary parts about this game. Their sound design is just brilliant. Really, the entire sound design of this game is brilliant, but hybrids specifically, I think, really invoke a lot about what makes this game so great. They're just so unnatural in how they talk and whatnot. Ow. So welcome to System Shock 2. The game where you... Oh god. This is why I like to carry around multiple pistols. Because that shit happens way too often. Especially early game when before I have the maintenance tools to... Ugh. Yeah, see, so... That is another reason why I did not want to restrict myself to simply using energy weapons if I had the chance to use a pistol. Because, I cannot use it now. I do not have energy for it to use, so unless this turret has a battery, which I hope it does not, I am shit out of luck until I get back to, my safe space.
In some ways, the many is not unlike the UNN. There's a joy in working towards a collective goal, and being able to put aside the things that draw us apart and make us separate. Why do we fear the loss of our individuality so much? Man can dream, but the many can accomplish.
So that is our fellow William Bedford Diego waxing a little poetic about the many. That's going to be a fairly common sight for us in this game. Diego is a very conflicted character in regards to the many. Obviously, he has fallen to their influence. However, it seems that even still, he maintains some of his humanity. That's quite admirable, but it's not quite what it might seem at first. It's not a clear-cut, oh, I'm gonna keep holding on to my humanity no matter what, and I will, you know, be the good guy. There is some really fucked up shit that Diego later on. And there's some of the best audio logs in the game. Most of the story is told through these audio logs. Most of the side stories aside from the main one with us and Polio. But part of that is, I think, what makes this game so wonderful. It introduces you to characters that you'd never really see, but you kind of come to care about them in the process. And so, what do we just pick up?
Ballone's dead. I was just talking to him and this cyborg came up behind him and... Okay, Connie, get a grip. Get a grip. I've recoded the door lock and engineering control to 15061. I think I'll be safe in here. Yeah, I'll be safe in here.
Right, so now we have the code of fluidics control. That's pretty great. We are done here.
Constance, I fear now for
And
my
I'm going to
life.
take the shortcut while I listen to this audio log.
Beyond any imaginings of Diego and Korechkin. I do not believe they are in control at all. We must discover what it was they found down on the surface of Tau Ceti 5 and why they guard the secret so jealously. I think this is more important than my life, or your life, or the life of this ship. Be brave and be careful.
Yeet! That was the lamest yeet in existence. I apologize. Okay, so we are done. And this item I picked up is quite important. This is a French Epstein device. This is what I was talking about earlier. It is one of the items we get that lets us automatically modify something. And modifying will, in addition to giving you bonus damage on your weapon, will do a number of useful things. Because this is such a useful item, and there are only 5 of them on impossible difficulty, and you need 2 per weapon to fully max it out, I have to be somewhat selective about the weapons I use it on. So it seems like a no-brainer that I use it on our laser pistol. Right off the bat, it gives us much more energy capacity, and that will also increase our damage. Also, I did get our research skill, so now I can finally research this right here that we picked up off of a hybrid a long time ago. I wonder what that is. And we will also be able to research this weird pepperoni monstrosity. So now our objective is to get to... Oh, hello. Oh! I forgot to heal. Oopty. Okay. I am doing pretty terribly at actually staying alive this game, I must admit. I probably could drink that liquor and be fine, but before I actually do that, there is an item later on that's going to take psi points even if we aren't actively using psi that I would like to use. And I don't really want to, like, limit the amount of resources I have for that. Yeah, fuck you. Oh, thank you. Hey, you're kind of a bro. You dropped a med hypo to make up for the fact that you killed me.
Taking precautions, I proceeded with further experiments. Since we've reached Tau Ceti, creatures have gotten smarter and somehow gained limited psi abilities. I probed another subject with a Beta 5 cycle and sensed many things, but mostly an incredible empathy. The chimps have become acutely aware of their own history, of the vivisections and experiments that have been performed on them while on board the Von Braun. They have anger, and they are ready to express it. Clearly, they are both a fascinating scientific resource and an incredible security risk. My recommendation? Either freeze them in cryo storage for the remainder of the mission, or liquidate them immediately. Who knows what other abilities they'll acquire.
Right, so Malone is kind of spooked about the monks. He does not think they are something that we should be messing around with, and yet here we are. There is a point where we should have stopped a long time ago, and we are now past it, so let's just continue and see what happens. That's the vibe I get from that. Well, despite that he was like saying, no, we need to, like, fucking kill them, basically. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is why hack is important, because fighting turrets is not fun, especially like early on in the game. So, this was our next destination, was this little section up here. Let us break into here, shall we? Miss Singer was kind enough to provide us the code. Let's see what Miss Polito has to say when we get in there. Now we can activate the fluidics control.
Xerxes is one step ahead of us. He's performed an override on the fluidics control computer and blocked us out. But keep an eye open. You might be able to find some workaround.
Some workaround.
Somebody's been tampering with the Xerxes unit. In the interest of keeping secrets from the powers that be, I've installed a backdoor to the fluidics control computer. To activate it, install hardware override 45M DEX in the system's monitoring unit in command control. You can find 45M DEX in auxiliary storage 5 in the crew tubes. Keycode 34760.
So that little suite we found a good portion back is going to be our next destination. So the next episode we are going to head there and continue. But for now I think that's going to wrap up this episode. I've been recording for a little bit. Engineering is a little longer than MedSci, so I kind of want to break it up to maybe be 2 videos per deck from here on out. But yeah, so once again, this is WalterREQUiEM, and I really appreciate you guys watching my videos and staying with me on my journey of my favorite game of all time. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later.